It doesn't matter what credentials we have if we don't know how to use them. It does not matter what credentials we have if we don't know how to use them. It spoke so true. How often do we have our credentials for doing our job, but we don't know how to do them? How do we able to apply and move that forward? We're talking about alignment, and we're talking about alignment sometimes within ourselves. How do we better align ourselves with those around us? Because when we think about how we're going to be further motivated, driven, how we're going to be able to be more articulate in our messaging and our understanding how everyone else works. Those that when we hand off a task, who's impacted positively as well as negatively? Because what does that provide us? That provides us the opportunity to learn and grow. And that's all we can ask for within our roles. That's it. To learn to be our best. When we talk about credentials, we spend this money, we spend this effort, we get the checkbox out there, and there's a lot of confusion there on how the checkbox and the value behind it. Again, my point's not to be demeaning to anything out there. There's lots of different reasons why we have the different varieties. That's awesome. But the reality is, does it really provide you value? Does it provide your customers, this could be stakeholders, that could be managers, it could be, if you're a consultant, it's going to be your customer itself, provide them value? See, what I'm finding in today's world is of all these things hitting us from multiple different angles, a lot hitting us. How are we coping with this? Are we being reactive? Are we being proactive? How are we further portraying how we're working through this? And today I want to give you a little bit of steps, a few steps, because I've been getting ready for a webinar. And trust me, even for me, I have to make sure I work with what I'm working. It's my proficiencies to be able to better communicate to you. I'm growing just like you are, but in different facets. And that's okay, because my goal is to help you be more proficient in your role. Because at the end of the day, no organization deserves to fail because their consultants or practitioners are unable to perform their job. I'm going to make the bold statement right now. No organization deserves not just an untrained, but an unskilled individual to perform the job in their role. And this comes from asset management, software asset management, configuration management. Oh, by the way, I'm Bill, Mr. Bill, and I am a recovering IT practitioner. I've been in those shoes. I absolutely have. And I've now helped over 4,000 between clients and practitioners around the globe be more proficient in their role. And now I'm helping you. And I appreciate it. If you're part of the family, welcome. Absolutely. This is part of my Motivation Monday. The whole idea here is to help you be more proficient in what you're doing and just kind of kicking it off. And I like to do video versus still pictures, because I think it has more meaning. You also get to know me. You get to know me and what I do. And we do things like this on the co-op. But more importantly, back to our message for today. How are you working through all this noise? And I say noise professionally and constructively. How are you working through the noise to determine what you're focusing on this week so you can be successful? And I have a couple steps for you. I can't remember 6 or 7. Actually, it says it's 6 steps to help you through this. And I want to provide this little lesson so you're able to help go that next step. Because when I said I've been in your shoes, let me give you an example. I literally, on a Monday morning, I got the email to track all the hardware and software. That's what my management wanted me to do. Track all the hardware and software inside the enterprise. See, I was an end user support technician, all the credentials for my role, but I had no idea how to apply it. And they were asking for more. And I figured out how to apply it. I figured out how to make not just myself successful, but also I was able to help portray and make those around me successful, including having the buy-in from a teaming perspective. And that's where alignment comes into play. Because when you think about alignment, again, it's not just about you, it's how you're serving others. I know we don't talk about that in all the training classes. If you have one that does it, please give me a heads up. Because from what I've seen and what I've heard from the different practitioners I've talked to, worked with, et cetera, we forget about the teaming aspect of what we do, which means back to alignment. And we have to think about how we serve others. I do a lot of things in volunteering, things like that. And we have a term, it's called servant leadership, that absolutely portrays to each one of the disciplines. We are serving others. We're also serving ourselves, but we think about everyone we work with, who you provide data to, those integrations in the systems, how they all come together. That's what makes it fun. Little did I know when I first started, I would take it to a whole new level to help my peers in this fashion. But my point behind that is I want to give you back to the steps, some steps I came up with. It's things we need to review from time to time, being able to look and say, okay, let's identify, first of all, what we are really good at. Because within our area and within our expertise, there's a lot of areas out there. There's a lot of different nuances. And some we're going to be proficient in, some we're not. Because when you think about the people, the process, the technology, the data that comes from that, and the overarching governance behind those are 5 different areas. Write them down. The people, the process, the technology, the data, and the governance. Think about how overwhelming that is. If you're not overwhelmed, congratulations, you're doing pretty well, or we're being a little naive. Point is, say, we're human. It's okay to be human. But first, identify where your proficiency is and work on excelling beyond that. There was an article I recently read, and the whole idea was they were talking about productivity in the cult of business and how it's impacted us in a negatively, because we're looking, what's happened is the decline in the community, the decline that's coming together to support each other. The rise in isolation of each other, silos. It's because of the productivity and busyness, we forget to talk to others. As technologists, we think we want to do it all. Trust me, I'm just as guilty. The rise in isolation, as well as changing our moods, when I identify what I'm really good at, is my point, is I feel really good about it. I can become more proficient. Do you want to? And it's important to say what I'm really good at, become more proficient at it. Don't worry about the rest of the noise. The noise is going to happen. But for you to be able to isolate and say, I know what I'm really good at, I'm able to thrive. If you want to grow in different areas, I'm not saying not to. Think about how you're identifying and where, and go that next step. Because that goes to my number 2, acknowledge it and appreciate what you have. Acknowledge and appreciate. That's a great time to pat yourself on the back. Pat yourself on the back for where you are. You're here. Welcome. You're part of the family. And when I say family, I'm talking about the greater community of the family. There's a lot of us out there, and there's a lot of us really struggling because we're kind of in our own box. But acknowledge the box. It's not to be negative. Acknowledge it and appreciate what you have. Appreciate that next step, because here's where you need to go next. A little guidance. There's something that piqued your interest on how to further expand. Absolutely did. Trust me, I have lots of shiny objects all the time that happen to me. You can ask anybody that knows me. Lots of shiny objects, and sometimes trying to keep me focused is not easy because we're curious. We're supposed to be curious. We're detectives. We're detectives to work through and say, okay, how's this work through? We're curious, identify how we're able to fix a problem. We're problem fixers, or be able to look at the data detectives. That's what we do. And this goes for hardware asset management, software asset management, and configuration management. So be curious how you can further expand your efforts. Something piqued your interest. Sure, you have this big thing, but start small. Start small and be curious and say, I want to explore on that. Again, how can you work on being aligned? This is it. When you think about maybe that stakeholder discussion, you found out something's happening with a new security initiative, and you want to better articulate and have a more transparency with them with what your efforts are. You got your curiosity up. You want to better understand how you can help them. Ask. It's that simple. Ask. Yes, I'm a little passionate about it, because when you ask, as well as you understand where you are, I want you to be confident. Be confident in what you know, as well as where you want to go. Say, don't just put your toe in, jump in, take action. Be confident in saying, this is what I understand, and here's where I don't know, and I'd like to learn more. Because what I find And a lot of us find this with elders, right? We all have grandparents in different ways, different grandparents and parents, grandparents, etc. But think about last time you were with your grandparents, male or female, it doesn't matter. They were asking, how are you doing? And then you had that conversation. Have you ever had that conversation? I remember with my granddad, and trust me, I had 3 of them, right? But they love to talk, right? Thrilled. They just love to talk because they want to share. The same as actually holds true with your stakeholders, your sponsors. When you find out what they're really passionate with, that's going to help you that better alignment. Also, be more confident whenever you have the conversation. You're now looking to see how they understand what they're doing. So what's that also do to you? Because you're being confident, helps you gain certainty. We're almost there. You gain certainty. That's huge. When you gain certainty, think about your confidence level. Not just being confident, but you are confident. That's the part I want you just to gain that confidence, because when you have a voice, you're going to be allowed at the table, the seat at the table within leadership. The seat at the table to have discussions that will understand, okay, why, if this change is occurring or new upgrade or the environment's going to change, what's the impact? They're going to be asking you for insight or help on the process. How's the process work? And who are the major team members when this new program manager or project manager comes in? How do you do that? Lastly, there's one last step. It's the most important of all. And perfection is not required. Actually, perfection, I don't want you to be perfect when you do this. I want you to just take action. And you're going to learn from it. If something happens, I want you to take action. Take action, whatever it is. Move forward. Don't hold back. Be conscious and respectful, but move forward and take action. You're in charge of your own destiny. That's my crux behind my message today. When you think about everything else you have, until you take action, until you understand how you can address any of those gaps, until you understand how to work and align with others, nothing else matters. You get all the credentials in the world, it's not going to help you move forward. Because when you move forward and you take action, what's that going to do to you? Think about the enthusiasm, the drive, the last time you took action. It's pretty powerful, doesn't it? Remember, what's it do to everybody else around you? Because your attitude, your mood changes because you're interacting. It's pretty powerful. All of a sudden, you've lit that fire, right? And trust me, I have practitioners who do this all the time. I've even also seen this in youth with all the scouting stuff I've done. And all of a sudden, they're taking action. It's like they're doing beyond belief, right? It's about you moving that forward, because when you do that, everyone else sees it. You're going to be recognized for it. It's not about the recognition either. It's about your self motivation and recognition. See, everyone says, oh, I want to get this award. Truthfully, trust me. I mean, I Tim Fellow, I say, so what? I'm not able to work with my peers to make that happen. The so what factor comes in play. So my what is I want to help support the community I love and thrive, and taking action to do that. Because when you go home at night, you have that self-appreciation for what you've done, a little bit more relaxed. You're able to enjoy time with the loved ones. Well, that's my Motivation Monday. A little unusual, but it's also very instructive. So if there's something I can do, please reach out. I'm here for you 100%. And if you'd like to be part and reach out to me for a one-on-one discussion, please reach out. I can help you there. And a little nugget here on the end. So I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye now.